Marge Ptaszek was searching for the purpose of her life and the truth that would tie everything together to make sense of what was taught and what was happening on our planet, the fire that was creating all the smoke. Through many experiences, she was finally led to the knowledge book that provided all the answers. She is now talking about this gift to humanity on Knowledge Book Radio, so all can be united in peace, love, and harmony. Please call 1-973-787-7035 or email mmjp99@gmail.com with questions. If you send your postal address to mmjp99@gmail.com, you will receive 3 chapters of the Knowledge Book as a gift. Now, here is your host, Marge Ptaszek.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marge Ptaszek, and you're listening to the Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Ptaszek on Transformation Talk Radio. For the next 45 minutes or so, we will continue our series of Omega Talks. And these are given once a month on the 4th Tuesday or the last Tuesday of the month, 4 p.m. Pacific Time and 7 p.m. East Coast Time. The Omega Talks themselves are part of the unification program of the Call to Friendship Association that's mentioned in the Knowledge Book. So in these talks, we basically connect some world knowledge topic to the Omega dimension, which is the union of central suns, or otherwise known as the 19th dimension. And the 19th dimension has, up to this time, been closed to the humanity. We were not able to access it to the world human until now, and for the first time, the 19th dimension is open to humanity through the Knowledge Book. And the topic that we're going to be talking about today is the sunflower as a universal symbol. Now we'll talk a little bit first about what a sunflower is, what it's used for, and go delving a little bit deeper into it. So the common sunflower is a large annual herbaceous plant of the genus Helianthus. It is grown as a crop for its edible and oily seeds. Now Helianthus itself, the name is based on Helia meaning the sun. It is used in many different ways, such as to produce cooking oil, for livestock forage, as bird food, for some industrial applications, as an ornamental flower, and surprisingly for detoxifying soil from nuclear waste. So it has varied usage, and I'm sure at least some of us will have used the sunflower both for eating, for cooking, for giving birds some food during the winter or the summer or during the seasons. So it is a useful plant. Now, the origin of the sunflower, despite the fact that it's now all over the world, it wasn't in Europe. It was started in the Americas. The first sunflower was wild in the Americas. The sunflower seeds were brought to Europe in the 16th century, where, along with sunflower oil, they became a widespread cooking ingredient. With time, the bulk of industrial scale production shifted to Eastern Europe, and as of 2020, Russia and the Ukraine together produce over half of the worldwide seed production, which I think is about 52 million pounds of sunflower seeds. The plant itself has an erect, rough, hairy stem. It reaches basically up to a height of about 3 meters or 10 feet. And the tallest sunflower on record was 9.17 meters or 30 feet 1 inch. That was some tall sunflower. The sunflower leaves are broad, coarsely toothed, and rough. The bottom leaves are longer and alternate on the stem, and they're usually opposite each other. However, the leaves at the top are more heart-shaped and arranged in a spiral. You will see the sunflowers blooming from June to September. And what is called the sunflower is actually a flower head that is 7.5 to 12.5 centimeters or 3 to 5 inches wide, composed of numerous small individual 5-petaled flowers or florets. So this here would be the florets on the left, the regular ones, but this is the ray flower, where you've got one of the petals elongated and enlarged, and the other one being small on the bottom here. So the outer flowers, or these guys on the right, which resemble petals, are called ray flowers. Each petal consists of a ligule composed of a fused petal of an asymmetrical ray flower. They are sterile and may be yellow, red, orange, or some other colors. The spirally arranged flower in the center of the head are called disc flowers, or that mature into seeds. So here on the screen on the right-hand side, the yellow, those are the sterile ray flowers. And then going from the right to the left, you will see the florets opening up. You'll see a lot of the pistils on the right-hand side, which are the dark ones. And then as you're going towards the left, towards the blue, you will just see the buds of the florets slowly opening up. So the flower itself opens up from the right to the left, going inwards, spiraling inwards. Now, before the sunflowers mature, they face and they track this direction of the sun from the east to the west. They reorient overnight to face east, and they then move west throughout the day. So basically, if you remember how the satellite dishes orient themselves to the signal coming in, the sunflower does the same thing. It orients its head, the sunflower, to face the sun. And it changes direction to be facing the sun the entire day. And even if it's cloudy outside, it still knows where the sun is and tracks the sun even on a cloudy day, or even if the flower itself or the plant itself is moved indoors to a stationary source of light, it still will be tracking from east to west. However, once the plant is fully mature, they continuously face east. And this eastward orientation allows rapid warming and therefore an increase in pollinator visits. And the usual pollinators are bees or other insects. This allows for a strengthening of the gene pool and being able to evolve to react to changing conditions. Alternatively, a sunflower can self-reproduce by twisting itself around its own pollen. However, this method only produces an identical flower and not one that has the benefits of the best genes from the other flowers around it. So basically what the plant does, if there is no other flowers around, and maybe it's a single solitary sunflower, it clones itself. So it makes a duplicate copy of itself without having the benefit of mixing other genes from other sunflowers around it. So it's not exactly ideal for the gene pool, but the seeds in the center of the flower can do this in order to pollinate and therefore to at least replicate itself, survive to the next generation. And maybe at that point, there'll be more other sunflowers available for cross-pollination. The actual genome of the sunflower is diploid. This is a cell or nucleus that contains 2 complete sets of chromosomes, one from each parent. The base chromosome number is 17, so they have 17 of these chromosome pairs, and the genome size is estimated to be 2,871 or 3,189 million base pairs. Some sources claim its true size is around 3.5 billion base pairs or slightly larger than the human genome. When I read this, I was a little surprised that a plant would have a larger genome size than humans. The other surprising thing is that sunflowers are used and can be used to extract toxic ingredients such as lead, arsenic, and uranium from soil and to neutralize radionuclides. They are also used to remove toxic ingredients and harmful bacteria from water. So the sunflowers both work on land, on the earth, and on the water. Now, sunflowers during the time of Chernobyl were used to remove cesium-137 and strontium-90 after the Chernobyl accident. And they did the same thing after the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster as well. When you look at the sunflower and the arrangement of the florets or the seeds, the pattern of the florets and resultant seeds within a sunflower follows the Fibonacci sequence, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, and you keep on going. Now, back in math class, we learned that the Fibonacci series basically is a result of the number plus the next number added together, and then that number plus the next number or the previous number is added together. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 1 equals 3, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 5 plus 5 plus 3 equals 8, 8 plus 5 equals 13, 13 plus equals 21, and so on. So the spirals that we see in the center are generated from this sequence. There are 2 series of curves winding in opposite directions, starting at the center and stretching out to the petals, with each seed sitting at a certain angle from the neighboring seeds to create the spiral. So if you look at the sunflower, you have a sunflower, you have spirals going in and out the entire time. Around the entire, some are going in and some are going out. This way and this way. And this is a computer-generated image of the sunflower arrangement based on the Fibonacci sequence or the 137.5 degrees positioning of the sunflower, of the seeds or the florets. Generally, each floret is oriented towards the next by approximately the golden angle, or 137.5 degrees, producing a pattern of interconnecting spirals where the number of left spirals and the number of right spirals are successive Fibonacci numbers. Typically, there are 34 spirals in one direction and 55 in the other. However, in a very large sunflower head, there could be 89 in one direction and 144 in the other direction. Now, this is the pattern that produces the most efficient packing of seeds mathematically possible within the flower head. Now, if you remember, or you can see that the sunflower is circular. So this is the most efficient packing in a circle, in a sphere, not a sphere, in a circle. Whereas the hexagon is the most efficient packing in a rectangular area. And this is where the bees come in, and they're the ones that produce the hexagonal honeycomb, while the sunflower seeds and the sunflower florets produce this Fibonacci-based, spiral-based arrangement of florets. So here you see the actual spirals going in and out. Now we'll cover some facts about the sunflowers that you may or may not know. Basically, there are two main types of sunflower seeds, black and gray. The gray is striped. Sometimes they're called white seeds, but they're actually gray and white stripe. And they have a grayish white stripe or two down the length of the seed. The black type of seeds, also called black oil, are up to 45% richer in sunflower oil and are used mainly in manufacture. While the gray seeds are produced and used for constant consumer snacks and animal food production. Apparently in August 2018, the Bogle sunflower plantation in Canada had to close off its sunflower fields to visitors because an Instagram image of that field went viral. Once people saw this, that caused a near stampede of photographers that are very eager to get their own Instagram image of the 1.4 million sunflowers in a scene. So you may have seen pictures of sunflowers in a field where the suns were stretching to the horizon. Now, of course, sunflowers can be used to produce something that's called a sun butter as a replacement for and may be tasting better than the peanut butter. Well, peanut butter and peanuts people are very allergic to peanuts and peanut butter. So now you can have a substitute. You can use sunflower. You can have a sun butter instead of peanut butter, it's sun butter. It's actually pretty good. Now, this proves how popular the sunflower is. On May 14th, 2015, in Boch, Germany, 748 members of the Cologne Carnival Society dressed up in sunflower outfits. This is the largest gathering of people known to have dressed up as sunflowers. So we know that sunflowers are inspirational plants, even to famous painters. Vincent van Gogh loved sunflowers so much, he created a famous series of paintings simply called sunflowers. And each painting had a different arrangement of sunflowers and a different feel to it. Now, sunflower oil doesn't have to be just used for cooking. You can use sunflower oil to soften leather, use it for wounds, and even to condition your hair. I guess it softens up the scab that forms, and leather, I guess if you've got an old pocketbook, an old pair of shoes that has become stiff over time, you could rub some sunflower oil into it and make it supple again. Now, sunflowers could branch out and have more than one flower. We're used to, or I'm used to, seeing one sunflower head at the top of a tall stem. However, the sunflowers do branch out and they have multiple flowers. So in St. Charles, Michigan in 2001, there was a number of 837 flowers on one single plant. That's 837 flowers, separate flowers on one plant. And this was grown by a gardener called Melvin Hemker. Now, humans and dogs are not the only ones that have flown up into space. A select number of sunflower seeds traveled to space in 2012 with astronaut Don Pettit, and their final destination was the International Space Station. Now, they weren't saying they were probably used for some kind of scientific experiment, probably not for eating as a snack. Now, there are folk legends that are about the sunflower. They're probably more legend than fact, but there is an old wives' tale that says if you sleep with a sunflower under your pillow, you will be filled with true wisdom. Well, I will have to try that and see if anything happens, like if I become wise once I wake up. In another version of this story, it says that you will discover some form of truth regarding something you would like to know for certain. So if I have a question in my head, instead of reading the knowledge book and getting my answer there, I guess I could passively test out this theory or this wives' tale and see where the true answer lies, whether in the wives' tale or in the knowledge book. Now we'll cover a little bit about sunflower symbolism. Now in dictionary.com, the definition for symbol is 1, a mark or character used as a conventional representation of an object, function, or process, like the letter or letters standing for a chemical element or a character in musical notation. And number 2, a thing that represents or stands for something else, especially a material object representing something abstract. So something tangible to represent something that's intangible, that we cannot hold or measure. So a musical note would be a symbol for some particular frequency of music, and the periodic table would contain a series of letters that represent a specific chemical compound. Now, Merriam-Webster definition of symbol is as follows. 1, something that stands for something else, especially something real that stands for or suggests another thing that cannot in itself be pictured or shown, like the lion being a symbol of courage. 2, something that stands for or suggests something else by a reason of relationship, association, convention, or accidental resemblance, especially a visible sign of something invisible. 3, an arbitrary or conventional sign used in writing or printing relating to a particular field to represent operations, quantities, elements, relations, or qualities. So this is the definition of a symbol. Now we'll see how different cultures associate the sunflower with certain intangible characteristics. So some of the meanings ascribed to the sunflowers include happiness, optimism, honesty, longevity, peace, admiration, devotion, and a sign of positivity and luck when embarking on a new career or venture of some kind. So the sunflower may possibly surpass all flowers in terms of its universal power to bring joy to people and to stand for an intangible characteristic. Now, because it has a round face and bright yellow petals resembling the rays of the sunshine, the sunflower has important cultural and spiritual significance to people around the world. While sunflowers come in a range of warm colors, from golden to orange to red and purple, they are most known for their vibrant yellow color. As the color yellow represents joy, happiness, and laughter, these qualities are what the sunflower embodies. So there's usually a smile on someone's face when they look at a sunflower or they see a picture of a sunflower. Reminds us of the warmth of the sun. Now in fascicle 24 explains the colors, and the explanation for the yellow color is as follows, quote, the yellow color is a conveying color. It conceals in itself all the sacred vibrations. It is an intense frequency. Those who are on the path of the sacred light, that is, those whose evolutions and spiritual potentials are very powerful, can use it comfortably. It makes those with low frequencies ill. The frequency of the knowledge book is orange yellow. Its symbol is the sunflower, end quote. So you can learn a little about yourself through the colors that the knowledge book talks about. And if you like yellow and surround yourself with yellow and can wear yellow without a problem, that means you are one of the people who are high on the evolution and spiritual potential and very powerful people. In Fascicle 20, it says, quote, the symbol of the orange sect is the sameness of the inside and the outside, to have the same scent and the same color and to symbolize the color of the sun, end quote. So the orange sect is the sect that was started by Buddha, and he is the one that basically was the first one to reach the level of God. And he is the one who taught this a process to his followers, and those followers are teaching the rest of the world in generation after generation. And it stands for the sameness on the inside. And so basically, if our inside, our pure essence is the essence of God, is a small portion or tiny portion of the spark of our Creator, then if our outside, meaning our energy body, is at the same vibration, at the same frequency as the inside, that means the inside is the same as the outside. I mean, there are other meanings attributed to this, meaning that you are not a hypocrite, meaning whatever you feel is whatever you show. However, whatever you show is a reflection of that inner core or inner essence. So sunflowers, to further expand, are symbols of nuclear disarmament, and therefore sunflower meaning also includes peace. When the Soviet Union broke apart in 1991, Ukraine, a new nation, had the third largest arsenal of nuclear weapons. In 1996, Ukraine committed to total nuclear disarmament. To honor the occasion, representatives from the US, Ukraine, and Russia planted sunflowers at the former nuclear sites. If you look at the picture on this slide, you'll have blue on top and yellow on the bottom, which is the color of the flag of the Ukraine. Now, in 1532, the explorer Francisco Pizarro discovered giant sunflowers in Peru. The bright and beautiful flowers were sacred to the local Inca people, since the sunflower reflected the image of their sun god, Inti. Incan priestesses wore sunflower-like discs made of pure gold to honor Inti. Sunflowers are also sacred to the Native Americans or indigenous Americans. They were included in spiritual rituals like the sun dance. The sunflower roots were chewed by the medicine man prior to the extraction of venom from a snake bite, and it was also used in the poultice mix to treat the snake bite. So basically, this was a use of detoxification, similar to what is happening with the purification that is done by the sunflower at nuclear sites and bacteria-laden water. Now, in Greek mythology, the sunflower is associated with loyalty and devotion. This is based on the myth of the sun god Apollo and the nymph named Clytie. So this is the god and goddesses version of a lover's triangle. So Clytie was in love with Apollo, but Apollo grew tired of Clytie and became more interested in another nymph. Now Clytie wanted Apollo back, so she interfered with the other nymph and Apollo got angry and punished her by turning her into a sunflower. Now, despite the fact that Apollo punished her, Pleiade continued to turn her gait towards Apollo wherever he traveled in the sky. So, and of course, Apollo is the sun god that traverses each day from the east to the west. And the sunflower follows that path like Pleiade. Now, sunflowers are also significant in Hindu culture. The symbol of the sunflower is known as the flower of the sun, or Suryamukhi, and the male Hindu god, sun god, Suryadada, is worshipped through the sunflower, and thus all the female goddesses also love the sunflower. For it's interesting to me as both the Greek and the Hindu picture the god with the sun at his back, with numerous horses drawing their carriage. The similarity in the symbol is striking. Now, flower symbolism was actually very popular pastime in Victorian England. The type of flower that was gifted to someone was always imbued with special meaning. And for the Victorians, sunflowers symbolized gratitude. This may be an extension of the fact that we are all very grateful to the fact that the sun exists and is able to give us the energies that we need to survive. It allows the plants to grow. It allows the weather to change. It allows a whole many things that we absolutely need in order to survive and for everything to survive. So it's a source of life above all. In China, the sunflower is a symbol of longevity, vitality, good fortune, intelligence, happiness, good luck, and is considered very auspicious. The yellow color signifies vitality and intelligence. The sunflower was considered a symbol of long life and was eaten by royalty to ensure immortality. So maybe they had something going there, because the yellow color actually is of vitality, a life-giving color. In esoteric Christianity, on the other hand, the sunflower is a symbol of God's love. The sunflower can also represent the unwavering faith that guides the soul to the highest spiritual attunement. The sunflower was a perfect symbol for the faith because the blossom, bright and beautiful and bountiful, is always seeking out the light. Symbolically, this is spiritually akin to the heart soul of humankind, always seeking and attaining unity with the light of faith and keeping a connection with the source or God. Although the sunflowers are not native to Japan, they are, however, well loved. And here they symbolize radiance and respect. They even have an annual festival dedicated to the sunflowers called Hakuryu Sunflower Festival, which takes place in July and August. You see here a field of sunflowers in Japan. Now there's something called the Mexican sunflower, and actually its growth is a shrub. It's not a one stalk, one tall stem with a flower head on top, or maybe some, few branches of flowers on top. This is a shrub. And actually the blooms look like a daisy. The petals themselves primarily come in shades of yellow and red. Each shrub grows around 80 to 120 flowers, making them dense with beautiful blooms. The flower attracts many butterflies, which helps with pollination. They grow in the summer and early autumn and represent faith, adoration, and loyalty. So after seeing all these examples of the symbolism that is associated, that the culture have associated that sunflower with, it is apparent that the sunflower appears in most cultures, and these cultures use the sunflower as a symbol standing for something that is particular to that culture. It is also apparent that sunflowers have begun to appear everywhere, in advertising, on television, in movies, etc. So be on the lookout. See if you can spot sunflowers, let's say in the movies that you're watching, or some kind of advertising media, visual media. So in fascicle 1 of the knowledge book, it says, quote, your coat is alpha, the color of your symbol is purple, your emblem is the sunflower, end quote. Now, coat, the word coat, K-O-T-E, is not originally an English word, as it is a derived word specifically for the knowledge book, and it is defined in the knowledge book glossary as the, quote, altitude of something, dimension difference, end quote. So it's the height of something. We can easily see and understand the difference between a 100-foot hill and a 10,000-foot mountain. It is also clear that the first floor of a building is not at the same height as the 100th floor of the building. We can think of each floor of a building or each elevation of a mountain as a dimension. So basically, the coat would be the measurement or the height or the altitude of your evolution, of where you are on the evolution ladder, where we start from zero world frequency and continue on up to eternity. So each dimension holds its own knowledge, gives its own energy, and has its own frequency, its own sound and color. So each dimension holds its own knowledge, meaning knowledge is available in different dimensions, and only those who can actually reach those dimensions can actually access that knowledge. Once you're able to access that knowledge, then that dimension can give you its own energy stream, and therefore since it's got its own energy and its own knowledge, it also has its own frequency. And just like we have on the radio different frequencies being able to carry different programs, and same thing with the television, different frequencies carry different television programs, then this works the same way. Every dimension has its own knowledge, just like we have every frequency has its own specific radio station. But this is on the radio station and the television, it is not based on a gradation of merit or a gradation of how good the show is or how far they have progressed. It is just a certain information is being encoded by certain frequencies. Here in the knowledge book, each dimension has its own knowledge, gives its own energy, and has its own frequency. The word coat used in the knowledge book refers to a height on the evolution chart. As presented in fascicle 44, the chart goes from 0 frequency, 3rd evolution dimension, to 27th frequency, 30th evolution dimension. And here is a representation of a rainbow chart, basically, but it is not in the order of the dimensions in the knowledge book. So the colors in the knowledge book are differently arranged. Fascicle 5 explains, quote, what is evolvement? So now we will convey to you its scientific side. All the seeds which have been sown in your subconscious since your first existence until the moment you are in have prepared you for a certain medium of consciousness. Each seed in the subconscious becomes verdant to give its fruit when it meets the light of knowledge that carries its own vibration. Otherwise, it remains fruitless. Knowledge coming from billions of light years is hidden in your brain layers. That means each of you is a walking library. However, you read only the book you open, end quote. So we are on an evolutionary journey where each of the seeds that have been implanted in us can only grow when the vibration of a certain knowledge is equal to the energy required by that seed. Can that seed sprout and begin to grow? If the seed does not receive the vibration that it needs, that it requires, then it remains dormant. and we do not evolve. We do not grow. We do not reach different dimensions. So it's critical for us to be able to gradually and safely be in contact with higher and higher frequencies, higher and higher knowledge, and higher, be able to withstand higher and higher energies for us to be able to evolve and grow so that everything that we have implanted in us, all the seeds that we have in us, are able to actually sprout and grow. And as more and more seeds in our subconscious sprout and grow and give fruit, we are then open to receive higher vibration frequencies that allow further activation of seeds, requiring higher vibrations to awaken. By undergoing the religious training and education, we come to the 18th evolutionary dimension, and then the knowledge book and its programs convey us to the 19th or Omega dimension. So again, very gradually we have been trained and educated so they get greater and greater knowledge. We are able to withstand greater and greater energies, and therefore have been evolving and have come from the zero world frequency to the 18th evolutionary dimension once we have finished our religious training, or wind up at the 4th dimension. Okay, now we'll cover the second part of this quote. Your coat is alpha. The color of your symbol is purple. Your emblem is the sunflower. So in fascicle 24, again talking about colors, quote, purple, that is the color of transition from the religious dimension to the universal dimension, and the unification of the godly order with the universal order is a symbol of the dimension you serve, end quote. In fascicle 25, number 25, the investment of years are sprouting now. During this period, everything will attain light through you who are the lights of the golden age, quote, end quote. Now, although we have come to this point through incarnation upon incarnation, we start out this current life from zero frequency, no matter which dimension we had finished at in our previous lifetimes. We start at zero world frequency. We start at zero. We start at 0.0. We start back at the beginning. And through our life, as we are surrounded by different stimuli, as we work within a family, as we are learning, and as we receive different energies and different trainings, we slowly get ourselves up to our finishing evolution of the previous lifetime and then continue on from there. So purple basically stands for our finishing our religious training, and the religious training takes us to the godly level, and the universal order would takes us beyond the godly level. As we progress on the evolutionary path of the knowledge book to the energies we obtain from it, our higher dimension seeds sprout, and we are gradually conveyed to the color of red, black, and white, the color of the Omega dimension. We have integrated ourselves and have reached the macro from the micro. So our entire progress, our entire growth, the entire purpose of all these incarnations is basically to go from the micro and arrive at the macro, go from the small and arrive at the large. And the 19th dimension, the colors are red, black, and white. And basically this is the dimension to which we are connecting the knowledge that is given in this topic, on this topic. So we have arrived at the universal dimension, and the knowledge book conveys us to that dimension through the energies, through the knowledge, through the frequency that this knowledge book gives us. We are slowly hitting and awakening and sprouting all the seeds within us to be able to become a genuine human and to be able to continue on to higher dimensions. And again, your coat is alpha, the color of your spirit symbol is purple, your emblem is the sunflower. Merriam-Webster definition of emblem is as follows. 1, a picture with a motto or set of verses intended as a moral lesson. 2, an object or the figure of an object symbolizing and suggesting another object or an idea. 3, a symbolic object used as a heraldic device or a device, symbol, or figure adopted and used as an identifying mark. So as we look at the emblems here, you have the emblem for the BMW, the Mitsubishi, Peugeot, Kia. We'll find Volkswagen. So these symbols basically, emblems basically Chevrolet symbolize or stand for a separate kind of car and a separate kind of dimension they represent. So a Mercedes-Benz emblem will represent a different category than a Volkswagen emblem or a Honda emblem. So each of them basically stands for something else, something bigger and a totality, like a company, like the idea of what it stands for. Where a symbol usually represents an idea or a concept, an emblem seems to represent a totality. Currently, an emblem would be a logo, a graphic that stands for a company or a process or some totality. The logo on a car represents that company, the entire company, the administrators, the designers, the engineers, the manufacturers, the sales force, whoever works in that company, and etc. So the logo represents the totality of that organization. So in these emblems, we see Starbucks, Coca-Cola, IKEA. They're all immediately recognizable, Subway, and we know immediately what those stand for. We don't have to have a 10-page description of the company. All we need to do is see the symbol or the emblem, and we know what that company stands for, what it represents, and what it does. So the sunflower is the universal symbol. The progression of sunflower florets opening, being fertilized, and becoming seeds starts on the outer rim and progresses towards the center. The spirals in the sunflower are going from all directions of the outer rim to the center. They are unifying at the center. Fascicle 46 informs us that the sunflower is an emblem of unification. The entire universe is being unified in a whole. So we would immediately, or at least I would immediately think that the spirals go from the inside to the outside is actually the other way around. If you look at the way that the florets open, they open from the outer rim to the inner rim. So the actual opening, fertilization, and becoming a seed goes from the outside to the inside. So there's a unification in seedhoodness on the inside. So we're now unifying in a whole. This kind of reminds you of a galaxy spinning. But if you look at these, you'll find that this could be connected and they could have spiral vibrations going all the way around the sunflower. Each religious symbol stands for the totality of the energies, knowledge, frequencies, and evolution plan of that religion. Every religion has its own particular set of frequencies it gives us, a specific set of knowledge that it gives us, a specific range of energies it gives us, and each religion had its own evolution plan. Now, the teachings of the Torah are not the same, although those teachings are included in the teachings of Christ, and those teachings are also included in the teachings of Muhammad. So each one had its own separate evolution plan. It had its own separate book. The knowledge book informs us that to everything there is a progress to which a certain amount of time is allocated. In all things there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. So each religion had a beginning, middle, and an end. The end of the evolution plan of one religion brought us to the beginning of the evolution plan of the next religion. So little by little, we wind up here. Now we are at the beginning of the next evolution plan of the new age. And this age is an age of unification, single book, single path, single Allah. And this universal emblem is the sunflower. Now we've reached the end of this time period that has been allocated to us. www.theknowledgebook.net. USA, theknowledgebook.net is the US website. My telephone number is 973-787-7035. And my email address is mmjp99@gmail.com. Mary John Peter 99@gmail.com. Please call or text me or email me with any suggestions for topics or any questions you may have based on this topic or any other topic we've covered. Thank you. See you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Ptaszek. Marge was led to the Knowledge Book, a gift to humanity, at its time of transition to the Golden Age that provides the truth, energies, and knowledge. Now, she shares information from and answers questions about the Knowledge Book with you the fourth Tuesday each month at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit usa.theknowledgebook.net and tune in next time for another amazing show on Knowledge Book Radio.